Hello, good morning, all. Welcome to today's online class session. In our today's class, we are going to have a discussion on conversation. Our today's topic is conversation, in which we have introducing yourself in a formal situation. Introducing yourself in a formal situation. Before going to this conversation chapter, in which we have introducing yourself in formal situation, let us go some explanation in order to understand properly. So, the other names of conversation is discussion. These are the other names of conversation: discussion, discourse, talk, negotiations, interaction, dialogue, and so on. So these are all the other names of conversation, like discussion, discourse, talk, negotiation, interaction, and dialogue. So introducing yourself is much more than saying your name. So sometimes what we feel, what we think, introducing ourselves, just saying your name, but it is not like that. It is the way to connect with someone you do not know. So in our day-to-day life, we meet with so many strange people with whom we are not at all acquainted. So at this juncture, at this context, it is the way to connect with someone you do not know. Introducing yourself to stranger can be tricky because what you say depends entirely on the context. So it depends upon the context, and introducing yourself to strangers is something very tricky, and sometimes it has to be diplomatic. So that is why we have to be very careful. So you might have to introduce yourself differently depending on whether you are addressing an audience, before you give a speech, meeting, or someone at work, or starting a conversation with an unfamiliar person at a party. It is important to introduce yourself in such a way that is appropriate and which will make people like and remember you. This is very important to whomever you are speaking, particularly when they are strangers to you. That kind of an impression you have to leave on them, so that they can continue to talk to you. And there are number of occasions in our day-to-day lives where we confront with so many people, so many experiences, where we compel to talk. So in bygone eras, in olden days, our elders, our teachers used to teach us, sometimes warn us, that how we should talk to others, how we should talk to strangers. As I have told you, that there will be a formal situation and informal situations. So in fact, it is our way of talk, it is our conversation sometimes that determines our entire personality without knowing. This is the strange point which we can find. So what happens? Our way of talking, our way of conversation, that determines our entire personality without knowing it. So that labels you what kind of a person you are. And after your conversation, after your talk to the strangers, he will come to know what kind of a man or what kind of a woman you are. Right? And then next, that is why what we have to do, we should maintain the tempo. We have to maintain the tempo while we talk with others. Right? Let me once again remind you, particularly since you people are first year, studying first year. So in intermediate, you must have come across with the dialogue writing. All of you have done these kind of exercises in your examinations as well as in your textbooks. What do you call dialogue writing? What kind of a dialogue writing it was? Dialogue writing is nothing but a conversation. So what kind of a dialogue writing was it? It was either a friend to friend dialogue or a student to with teacher dialogue. Right? So that encountered with formal and informal. But here in our today's session, where we are going to discuss this introducing yourself in formal situation, is something different, my dear students. So now let us go to the topic. Come to the first slide which I am showing you. A formal situation is described as a meeting between people not known to each other or unfamiliar to one another. A formal situation means it is a meeting between two strangers, right? Unfamiliar, you do not know him, you do not know her. Then how to start the conversation? That is called a formal situation, right? And then next, being able to introduce yourself to a group or another person might seem daunting. So something, it becomes difficult, to introduce yourself, particularly when you are in a group or when you are meeting with a person to whom you do not know. So it is difficult. But it is a social task that pops up a lot. So it appears a lot, right? This is a social task. Here are some steps to make it easier. So now some tips have been given to you people, some steps have been given to you people so that you can practice it at home, right, for your comfort, and try to expose your personality, right? So then what you have to do? Introducing yourself to an audience. For example, you are being introduced to the audience where you have attended a meeting and you have to speak, right? The audience, already I have told you that they are strangers to you. So what are the steps that are supposed to be followed, particularly at this context? Right, number one, speak clearly and confidently. You have to speak very clearly. It should be audible to every audience, right? Or a spectator. And while speaking, you have to be very confident. So that means you have to speak clearly and confidently. Make sure your voice is loud enough for everyone to hear you. That means your your voice should be audible to everyone in the meeting. And avoid mumbling. Avoid mumbling by enunciating your consonant crisply. Okay, enunciating means pronunciation, right? So don't go for phonetical transcript pronunciation. Sometimes the purpose of meeting or purpose of communication will go in vain. So that is why don't bother about pronunciation, like, right? And then come to the second point. Make eye contact with a few people. Make eye contact with a few people. That means your eye contact should be meet with the people who are sitting before you. Don't stare down or at some aimless point in the corner of the room. Never. Whenever you are speaking, your eye contact should be directly to the audience. You are not supposed to look somewhere, or you are not supposed to look at down, right? So what happens if you look at that? The curiosity from the audience will, they lost, they lose, to listen your speech, that what you are going to speak. Then move your gaze around the group to make eye contact with a few people as you speak. So you should keep on, gazing others in order to sustain your eye contact. Then next, if you don't like the thought of looking into that many eyes, look at their eyebrows or noses. They won't be able to tell the difference, right? This is something funny. And now the third point, say hello and state your name. Okay, say hello and state your name if you are at a formal gathering. So in a formal meetings, at a parties, gatherings, say hello and my name is so and so. My name is so and so. First name and the last name. Okay? And then if the gathering is informal, tune it down accordingly. So if it is, that means if the gathering is informal, if it is not formal, if it is informal, tune your voice according to the situation, according to the context. You could say something like, hey, I am. So in informal situations, you can use this kind of words, what you call, hey, I am so and so, right? And then go for the fourth one. Share basic information about yourself. Share basic information about yourself. The sort of information you share will depend on the audience you are addressing. So it depends upon the audience to whom you are going to give a speech. That kind of information should be given depending upon the audience. If you are introducing yourself on the first day of school, you might say where you are from and what you did over the summer. So if you are introducing yourself on the first day of school, you can say that where you are from which place you have come, and what did you do during the summer vacations, like if it is informal situation, right? And now the fifth one, if you are introducing yourself to a group of business associates, you might tell them what exactly your job is and how long you have been with the company. So if you are introducing yourself with the business associates, what you have to do, you can tell them what exactly your job, what kind of a job that you have done previously, and how long you have been working with that particular company previously. So this has to be introduced yourself when you are introducing yourself to a group of business associates. Then next, come to the fifth slide. Close the introduction. If you are going to be interacting more closely with these people in the future, say something like, I look forward to getting to know all of you better. So now once you come to a conclusion that you are going to work with this company or with these guys, you can say like, I look forward to getting know all of you better. So this is what, the insinuation, like, you would like to know something more about those people who are working with that company, right? Then next, sixth one. If you are probably won't be talking a lot of these people later, close with something like, it's been a pleasure speaking to you this morning, this afternoon, or tonight. So if you probably won't be talking a lot of these people later, so if you are not going to talk to them in the future, close with something, like, it's been a pleasure speaking to you this morning. So you can say in a diplomatic manner, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, my dear friends. Like that you can say, right? And now, introducing yourself to an individual. When you are going to introduce yourself to an individual, what are the steps that are supposed to be followed? Always maintain eye contact. Number one point, always maintain eye contact. Eye contact shows that you are completely involved in the interaction. Your eye contact shows, your eye contact denotes to the stranger that you are completely giving concentration or involving in the interaction session. It also shows that you are confident. More than that, it also shows that you are a confident person, right? If you are not comfortable maintaining eye contact with the person, try to make a glance between their eyebrows. So if you are not comfortable, right? If you are not comfortable to look at directly into his or her eyes, try to look, try to glance between their eyebrows. It would serve the purpose. Okay? And then this is one of the important components whenever you speak, particularly in conversation. Always smile. This is very important. Smile is very refreshing thing. A smile is a very refreshing thing. It would make the other person also feel comfortable. When you are smiling at him, it is not simper like. Okay? It is not simper like. A smile, a gentle smile that will provide the opposite person to feel comfortable. Always. Okay. Then always keep a good smile on your face. This would help you to begin the conversation easily. So unless you won't keep smile on your face, you cannot begin the conversation easily. You cannot talk. So that is very important. You have to keep smile. Right. Then next, the third component, offer a handshake. So handshake also denotes your personality, my dear. So that is why you have to take care, while shaking your hands with others. So a proper handshake, proper and firm handshake would show your confidence levels. So a proper and firm handshake would show your confidence levels. Okay. Then next, avoid crunching the other person's hand. Okay, avoid crunching the other person's hand. Deal it gently. Don't crush the hand, like while shaking with others. A handshake should be gentle but firm and should last for few seconds. So within seconds, what you have to do? You have to lose your hand. Okay, you cannot hold for a long time your hand with other's hand, right? So that is not good sign. Okay, and now then after shaking your hands, a gentle firm shake hand, then exchange names. You have to exchange names. Introduce yourself by saying, so you have to introduce yourself by, hello, I am Y. Praveen Kumar. May I know your good name, please? Right? So like this you have to start. Frequently use the person's name in your conversation. This is something very, ridiculous seems to be. Because some people may not, remember opposite person's name. So that is why it is also very important. You have to remember the person's name to whom you are speaking, so that frequently you can use the name of that particular person. right? And it would help you to personalize more easily, right? And then next, what you have to do, give a brief background of yourself. So it is very nice gesture to tell something about you, about your education, about your job, about your interests, and other basic professional information. You can say, right? After shaking hand, okay, after introducing yourself, you can tell about yourself. That means your education, your job, your interests, and other basic professional informations. Talk about the purpose of meeting the person if you are meeting for a specific person purpose. So this is very important. It depends upon the purpose of the meeting, right? So there are several meetings will be there where we have to meet with people, where we have to encounter a lot of encounters with experiences with strange people. So depending upon the purpose, you have to deal, right? And then conclude the conversation. Every effective introduction should end with a pleasant note by saying much pleased you are after meeting the persons, or how you enjoyed the conversation. So how a conclusion should be, how a meeting should be concluded. So every effective introduction, so when you have started your introduction in a pleasant way, in a pleasant manner, and the conclusion should be also end in that way, declaring that, saying that you are very much pleased, after meeting the persons, and you are very much enjoyed the conversation, right? This is one of the tricks that you are supposed to follow, right? You can also say when would be your next meeting, if any. So in the last, what you can say, you can also say when you would be your next meeting, if any, so that the opposite person, will show interest. He will come to a conclusion that, oh, this guy wants to talk to me next session also. That kind of a impression will you can leave on the opposite persons. Now, in your textbook, one exercise has been given to you in a column. Just have a look on this a conversation between two strange persons, right? So this is what, in the beginning I have told you, that at the intermediate level, the dialogue writing or the conversation between two people, two friends, or the student and teacher was completely different. But here it is advanced, since you have entered UG first year. So that is why how we should start our conversation with strangers, particularly in an informal situation. Formal situation. So now, informal situation, Situation 1. So now two characters has been given in the passage. So just try to have a look and try to concentrate meticulously the words, the sentences which have been exchanged by two people, so that you will come to know what kind of a difference between dialogue writing or conversation of intermediate and at degree level, right? So now, Geeta is the first person who is speaking to Lata. Geeta and Lata are two persons, right? And Geeta started conversation in a conference, it seems, right? Oh yeah, it is conference. Now, look at the conversation, how she starts. The conference this year is very good, isn't it? The conference this year is very good, isn't it? See here, she didn't say hello, she didn't say hi, she didn't say anything about herself, and suddenly she jumped into the conversation, so that to sustain it, right? The conference this year is very good, isn't it? Now she is asking, Geeta is asking to Lata to get some more information from Lata. So that is why what she is saying, the conference this year is very good, isn't it? And now look at the answer from Lata. Yes, I am really enjoying it. Yes, I am really enjoying it. I think it is better than last year's. Did you come last year? Now the conversation sustained. Lot of information is coming out by Lata. What she is saying? She is saying simultaneously that she is very happy, okay, because this year conference is very nice, and also she is giving extra information about last year conference. What she is saying, this year conference is better than last year's conference. And one more information, that what she wants to know about Geeta, did you come last year? She is asking, Lata is asking to Geeta, has she come last year or not? Now the reply of Geeta, no, I didn't. What she said? No, I didn't, but I came the year before, and that one was not as good as this year. What Geeta is saying, she attended the conference before last year, but that conference also was not enough good as this year. So that means this year conference only is the best conference, right? And now, what is the response of Lata? The speakers this year are a lot better, and so is the food. Now, additional information is being given by Lata. The speakers, whoever visited to that particular conference, are far better than last year and before last year, and the food facility also, food is also very nice in this year conference. Now, then Geeta, what Geeta is saying, just have a look very carefully. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Geeta Sharma. Now, the conversation started very before, earlier, but they never introduced with each other. And in the middle, Geeta is introducing herself. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Geeta Sharma. Right. And look at the response of Lata. Pleased to meet you, Geeta. My name is Lata Raman. They shake hand. Right. And in response, Lata said, pleased to meet you, Geeta. My name is Lata Raman. Now, both of them have introduced themselves. No longer they are strangers with each other. Now, how the conversation is going on, just have a look. I am here all 5 days, and you? What Lata is saying, I am going to stay here for 5 days. She is asking about Geeta. How about you? Are you going to stay the total 5 days or not? Now, look at the response of Lata. Geeta, I am here for only 3 days. I am leaving the day after tomorrow. In response, what Geeta said, she is not going to stay for 5 days. She is going to stay only for 3 days, and she is leaving day after tomorrow. And then Lata is asking, what do you do? What do you do? Geeta responds, I am a sales manager at Image India. I am a sales manager at Image India. So she is working with Image India company as a sales manager. And immediately she asked, and you? How about you? And now look at the Lata answer. I am the director of marketing for an internet company called Travel Quick. Travel Quick. So now Lata also already introduced herself by her name, and now her job profile is being introduced to Lata, that she was a director in a marketing section, and she is working in Travel Quick company, right? So another exercise also has been given to you in the textbook in the same page, right? So this is for your information and for your comfort. I have taken one example from your textbook, from our textbook, and the next exercise or next conversation also has to be discussed, but this is a homework for you. Just to have a look on that second conversation paragraph. And now some tips, which you have to follow when you start conversation with others. The first tip is be positive, talk positively. Okay, be positive, talk positively. Don't backbite or speak anything bad about anyone. You are not supposed to speak anything bad about any person, you know uh, back when that person is not present, right? That's a bad sign. Okay. Make sure your hands are clean before you offer a handshake. uh, you know you have to look after your hands whether they are clean or not. And respect the other person's and his or her views. You have to respect the opposite person's views also, right? And the another tip, don't eat anything that would stick to your teeth and make other persons uncomfortable. This is something very embarrassing, which you have to take care, right? And never speak with food in the mouth. This looks very clumsy, very awkward. So that is why don't speak, don't you dare speak with food in the mouth. And don't get distracted from the conversation. You are supposed to concentrate what you are talking about. Don't try to distract from the conversation. And don't make other person bored with lengthy talk. Okay? Your conversation should be short and sweet, right? And informative. Not boring, not disgusting, not lengthy. Huh? Then next, the last one, don't interrupt while the other person is speaking. Don't disturb others while they are speaking to us. Once again, I remind you, one character will appear in front of your eyes. Don't interrupt while the other person, who used to interrupt other person, that is Dorothy in our lesson, the curve in the sky. This is called captiousness, interrupting others while they speak by correcting mistakes, right? This is very bad habit. At any cost, under any circumstances, you should not interrupt when the other people are speaking to us. And last but not least, last but one, listen carefully what the other person is speaking. This is a very good habit. Whenever you have to be a good listener first. Unless you are a good listener, you cannot speak much. So that is why you have to listen carefully what the other person is speaking. And the last one but not least, use appropriate body language. Body language, kinesics. I hope I might have told you in the first session of our class when I have introduced the syllabus. So appropriate body language should be there. So like this, your today's session ends, my dear. We'll meet once again in our next session, in which we discuss more points, more topics. Thank you very much. Thank you.